are live. Welcome back,
Welcome,
MAGA Nation citizens, to quite arguably the shittiest podcast on Rumble. Okay, I was wondering why people were just right.
Yeah. Also, no video, it's just a blue background. Can y'all hear us? Do you want to build a snowman?
I want no scenes. All right, if y'all can hear us, turn the audio up. See if they can hear us.
Just check it. I'm not saying what you think I'm saying, but I don't think you can hear me anyway, so it doesn't matter. I got nothing.
He's laughing. See, Jason's putting laughing faces. Hey, and comment if you can hear us. Are you typing right now?
Yeah.
I'm not saying what you think I'm saying.
There we go.
I don't think you can hear me anyway, so it doesn't matter. We got video and audio now?
Yep.
All right. I did change some stuff.
Okay.
I had to change Jason.
And we're
All
here.
right. Welcome back, Ultra MAGA Nation citizens, to the shittiest podcast on Rumble.
We here.
So, is it Goyd?
Goyd, huh? Is it Goyd up?
So we got some conversation points today. We thought about talking about the Iranian war again. We thought about it. And we threw that out. We threw that, we threw that right out.
But we're not going to war with them.
I'm sorry, the special military operation.
I mean, the Army did just change their enlistment age from 34 to 42, but that's probably not related.
The one that Joe Kent said we should not sit and wait for the next attack. We should wipe Iran's ballistic capability out and get our troops out of Iraq. The only targets now, no U.S. WIKIA to tribute to the professionalism of our military and intel professionals, not Iranian restraint. But like, first and foremost, wipe out Iran's ballistic capability. But anyway, first we're going to talk about Dilley today. Dilley is something that's kind of becoming internet famous because a white liberal lady has decided that she needs to speak to our children and become a political activist because, they're not trying to cram it down our throats.
No.
Miss Rachel, if you have younger kids in your household, you know who that is, decided to go out and do a big political standpoint against Dilley.
Like a children's show or something?
Yeah, she makes a baby, like a YouTube child show.
Oh, so now she has to get political.
Yeah, now she has to get political because it's natural progression. She is pro-gay and pro all that stuff.
Yeah. So
not that any of that has anything to do with children's shows, but she does have gay people on her children's show. Like,
oh yeah, because that's what kids need to see.
Somebody that looks like she's trying to be a boy. Not like super trying to be a boy, but like definitely not trying to be a chick.
You can't assume.
But anyway, the natural progression from that would be political. You should be a political pundit. Makes plenty of sense. So she went on and started talking about all of these nefarious conditions at Dilley South Texas Residential Center, also called Dilley Immigration Processing Center, because it's in Dilley, Texas. Now, there's some things in here that we're going to talk about, but there's one thing in all of the shit that she said, like they weren't allowed to record do FaceTimes anymore, and well, that's funny because one of the rules on doing video recording, I don't need all of this, I just need Dilley. One night in Dilley. But one day we'll get organized with this. Anyway, basically, they're not allowed to record FaceTimes. They're not allowed. So, like, if you're video chatting with somebody,
they can't record it?
You're not allowed to record it and post it because it is a detention facility. It's no different, and I hate to say it, and people are going to make negative annotations about this, but than a prison. These people are here illegally. They committed a crime. Whether you agree with the severity of that crime or not, or whether you think people should be arrested for it, that's a different conversation, and you can state your point. But at the end of the day, right now, according to United States law, crossing the border is illegal. It just is. So they committed a crime. They're not allowed to post videos from someplace where people are being held. I'm really just using filler right now till I can find. I really can't believe this.
So like what? If I FaceTime there, I can't show it anywhere, basically?
Yeah, you can't record it and play it. And realistically, you can't even really FaceTime in a prison, so they're already getting more because there's concessions given about the fact that they are still people.
Right.
You know, it's not like we're dealing with hardened criminals. God, why was that so hardened for me to say?
Well, some are.
Well,
but I think they're put in different spots.
But this is a family facility.
Right.
This is made for children. And one of the things that I do like pointing out, number one, is right now there's at most 100 people in Dilley, and it's a facility that's maximum capability of holding is 2,500. There's 100 people in a facility that's designed to hold 2,500. Now, it was higher than that in January. In January, we were looking at like 900 to 1,100, something like that.
Okay.
But they're literally scaling it down each month. Then like February, it was like 500. And in March, it's now like 100. Huge amount of people. And some of the things that were being claimed was there were worms in the food and mold in the water, and lawyers weren't allowed to talk to their
clients.
Thank you, client. Like some shit. Like, first off, if you believe that there's a lawyer on this planet that without a valid reason given by a judge, he wasn't allowed to talk to his client, you're fucking retarded. What was that valid reason, one might say? Measles.
Mm-hmm.
There were some measles cases.
What?
Two confirmed. They literally quarantined the whole place, and so lawyers couldn't do in-person visits because they didn't want the lawyer to get the measles. Which subsequently, if you remember the Brady Bunch back in the day, Marcia got the measles, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I get the week off of school, and all I'm gonna have is a fever." But you know, who am I to know? One of the other things that I'd like to point out about Dilley, seeing how I can't find my notes. Children at Dilley range from infants to teenagers, but they are always accompanied by at least one parent. So every child in Dilley has at least one parent with them. If it is not an unaccompanied children's shelter, or it is not an unaccompanied children's facility or a shelter for kids without parents. That is a distinct, important. Unaccompanied minors go to the refugee or the Office of Refugee Resettlement Shelters, while Dilley is strictly for family units under ICE custody. So there's not a single child at Dilley that's just a child running around by himself. The other thing I like to point out is the families are kept in blocks or groups, or as they call it, neighborhoods. And they also get their own trailer in some cases. Like if you're not in, like they have trailers for some families, stuff like that. So number one, none of these kids are there without a parent. None of these kids are just in a room with random people.
I saw a thing too that was saying the trailers they get are like the same ones that they give like military sometimes, because they're like those storage container style ones.
Yeah, I got you. Now, there is some conversation about the lights being on all the time. My only approximation would be, once again, the only thing I'm going to be able to reference that I understand, like a prison.
Yeah, security.
The hall lights stay on.
Yeah, you don't want it to be dark.
But if they're in their own blocks or their own neighborhoods or their own trailers, I'd imagine that they're able to turn the lights off in that trailer. Plus, the government, well, it does like.
Well, with the humanitarian thing going on, because they're not like actually in a prison, they're probably handing out those little fucking things where you can,
Oh, some sleep masks.
yeah,
You're
like
absolutely
they do
correct.
on a plane. I'm not saying they do,
But it would
but
make sense.
like,
As of late March 2026, Dilley is operating at 4% of its capacity. Um, where is that one? Because this makes reference to why they're not allowed. ICE says meals accommodate all diets, allergies. Infant packages include baby formula food. The site is purpose built for families with proper maintenance. It's ICE's largest family detention center, housing families, including many young children, among the Trump administration's immigration enforcement. It is a capacity for thousands, has seen population reductions in recent months. Um, where the fuck is what I'm looking for? ICE arrest center. Basic housing, bunk beds for multiple families. Um, In late January, they had 1,100 to 1,332 people. Mid January, they had over 900. Early February, there was 700. In February 2026, new bookings dropped 75%. The average population fell to 700. New bookings down to just 54 for the period of mid March. Average daily population around 100, roughly 50 to 85 children with accompanying parents. They actually say it's 53 children and 49 parents. Dramatic drop. I have got to find the part where it's talking about the lawyers, because this is going to explicitly, like, why do I even bother doing all these notes and highlighting and
there's
shit
a lot of notes.
when I lose it?
What were you looking up?
Right now I'm still on Dilley. Oh, wow, it's right here. I'm just stupid. The facility offers video calls, but there are strict rules. No recorded, limited to attorneys, staff, interpreting, and scheduling can be shown. Video calls in common areas were later restricted after recordings went public. Well, the very first fucking rule they have is no recording.
Yeah.
And yet they're recording it and they're posting it public. Now, you can skew anything. It's like that age-old picture where they show the picture where it looks like the dude's running and the dude's holding a knife, but when
Yep.
you
Yeah.
zoom out, like, dude's actually trying to get stabbed by somebody, by the other guy. And the measles outbreak is what caused the lawyer breakdown. But they're given all of the stuff they need to survive, as far as infant, like, not breast milk, but the powdered version of breast milk
Yeah.
for the
Powdered breast
kids.
milk, yeah.
They're given their own pods. No child is there without a parent. Like, there are so many rules.
It's just like Mexican prison.
It's way better than Mexican prison.
That's how they do it in Mexican prison. They let their families in.
Hmm.
So I've read. I don't.
He's been to Mexican prison just recently.
Yeah, you know.
Tijuana.
Tijuana.
But I guess my point is, like, you have Miss Rachel once again, who's trying to introduce homosexuality and transgenderism to children at a very young age, now stepping foot into the political realm of things, and once again speaking out of context without understanding actually what's going on. You know, if you look at everything that was said about that context, it literally looks like these children are being abhorrently treated like the worst of the worst. You would think that there are kids just running around without any parental figures,
Mm-hmm.
that they're all just sleeping on bunk beds or cots in the hallways. And when you look into it, that's not the case at all. It really sounds like what Miss Rachel's joining in now is going to be a common theme throughout tonight's episode of propaganda.
Oh, for sure.
Because when you propagandize children, it really kind of hits everybody, because nobody wants to see a child mistreated. So to sit here and say that these children are eating food with worms in it with no proof, drinking moldy water with no proof, like, lights won't get turned off, they're begging to go to school. What kid have you ever seen beg to go to school?
Yeah.
I raise children. At best, what I get is, can I skip school today? I'm sick. I don't want to go. But yet somehow in the propagandized video that Miss Rachel shared, the kid just wanted to go to her spelling bee.
Yeah, that's all it was.
I just want to be at a spelling bee. Like,
So sad.
you know,
It is kind of sad, but it's the
it is
parents' fault.
sad. It is the parents' fault, but the parents are there, and that feels more like propaganda than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe that child was coached before they got on. Maybe they weren't. Maybe the kid really wanted to be in a spelling bee. Like, who am I to tell what that child wants? But at the end of the day, they're not being mistreated. Now, are they getting like McDonald's and fun shit? No, because that alludes to what you said, that it leans back in the parents' fault for not doing
Yeah.
the proper avenues. But even the United States government is making sure that these children are not being separated from their parents for the first time since Joe Biden left, not the first time since he left office, but since Joe Biden left office. Because Joe Biden's office, would you rather him be trafficked? Really? So next time you look at a YouTuber that wants to be political, look into what they're saying. It'd be kind of like using news stories from The Onion.
Yeah. You were a fucking moron.
So, something else we're going to get into today is Joe Kent. Small disclaimer, he very well might have been a war hero.
For sure.
It's a terrible thing what happened to his family. But that doesn't change the lies and the fucking bullshit that he's out here spewing, because he doesn't want to go to jail. So he's trying to once again propagandize the American people and make it look like, hey, I'm being politically prosecuted by the Trump administration, seeing how I resigned against Iran. Well, that's real fucking funny, because since 2025, you ain't been allowed to be in a presidential briefing.
You've been in one briefing.
Because they suspect you of leaking. As a matter of fact, in January or February, the FBI, before you resigned, was looking into what you're doing as far as leaking shit to. I was making sure the mic was still on, just in case.
Just in case.
Leaking shit to the Iranian people or whoever the fuck you're leaking it to. All right. So let's just look. I cannot. When he resigned, he said, "I cannot, in good conscience, support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation, and it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby." Now, later on, we're going to get into the whole fucking Israel thing. You call us a goy if you want, but like realistically, at this point, through all the research I've done, you sound like a fucking idiot if you're going to call us goy. Like, you sound like one of those conspiracy theorists, and I use that term very fucking loosely because I've been called that a lot through the last 5 years, and just about every fucking thing I've thought was a conspiracy that I had a theory on turned out to be true.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if you saw it, but they just came out with 1.7 million children have myocarditis and some other carditis, and subsequently every one of those children were vaccinated with the safe and effective vaccine. For children. It was specifically, it said it was 100% safe and 100% effective for children.
Fucking lie.
That's not even in the fucking news, and you can do your own research on that one. So anyway, Joe Kent said what he said. Well, I think that's really funny, because if you look back at some of the other things Joe Kent has said, he has a long support of certain past Trump aggressions. As far as Trump taking, I said the wrong word. He has a long support of certain past Trump actions against Iran, such as the 2020 killing of Soleimani. We liked that strike. That was a good one. Joe Kent was approved. He approved it. The U.S. bombing of the nuclear facilities in 2025. That was also approved by Joe Kent. Joe Kent was like,
he was cool with that.
Donald, that was a great decision. One of the finest. Oh, and in a 2020 tweet, he even told Trump, we should not sit back and wait for the next attack. Wipe Iran's ballistic capability out. But what does that mean?
Yeah. Well, like, so what? You're so against Israel, like you're gonna be pro-Iran now?
Yeah. Oh, no.
Like,
Israel controls America.
Yeah. So now I'm a Muslim.
As if we've had on multiple other episodes that we've had explaining that the Iranian attacks had more to do. Don't get me wrong, toppling regime is like a bonus side effect, but more to do with crippling China and their dirt cheap oil and shit like that